In this lesson, we are going to create a 3D character, and the entire tutorial will be divided in 3 parts. First, we start from blocking out a character with simple shapes. Then we create a topology of existing mesh to refine character's head and body, and additional tutorial on clothing design in Marvelous Designer. Let's begin. Let's get started by preparing our reference setup. First, create a plane object. Choose the Rotate tool or hit the R key. Rotate the plane 30 degrees along the x-axis. To do this, click and drag the red rotation ring. While holding the left mouse button, also press Shift to snap the rotation in 5-degree steps, making it easy to get exactly 90 degrees. Next, let's set up our reference image. Open the material editor and create a new standard material. With the material selected, go to the Color tab and load your front view reference image. Drag the material onto the plane in the viewport. You'll probably notice the texture looks a bit blurry. Let's fix that. Select the material again and go to the Viewport tab. Find the texture preview size and increase it for a sharper display. Let's organize things. Rename the plane by double-clicking its name in the Object Manager. Now it's important to set the correct scale for our reference. It affects things like simulation and rendering later on. With the plane selected, go to the Object tab and set the width and height to 180 cm. This gives us a character height around 175 cm, which is realistic. Let's reposition it. Select the Move tool, shortcut E, and drag the blue Z-axis so the feet line up with the ground level. To set up the side view, use the Rotate tool again, hold Ctrl or Command and Mark, and Shift as you rotate to both duplicate and rotate the plane at 90 degrees. Move the new plane sideways using the green Y-axis so it's clearly separated from the front one. Now we'll set up a new material. Duplicate the first material, Ctrl or Command plus drag, and load the side view image into its Color tab. Remove the old material from the new plane and assign this updated one. If the side image appears mirrored or flipped, just rotate the plane 180 degrees. Now let's adjust our viewport setup. Press the middle mouse button to switch between different viewports. You might notice the textures only show in some views. That's because each viewport uses its own shading mode. Let's make sure the reference images show up consistently. Select both planes in the Object Manager. Go to Tags, Render Tags, Display Tag. With the new tag selected, open the Tag Properties, enable Shading Mode and set it to Ground Shading. Now your reference images should be visible in all viewports, regardless of shading mode. Let's start blocking out the basic form of our character, beginning with the head. Create a sphere, then activate the Move tool and roughly position it where the head should be. Switch to the front view, pick the Scale tool, and click anywhere in the empty viewport. By dragging, you'll scale the sphere uniformly on all axes. Use the Move and Scale tools to continue adjusting the head's position and size. Switch to the right view and fine-tune the placement to match your side reference. While doing this, it's helpful to toggle between different shading modes. This lets you see your reference images through the geometry more clearly. Now let's move on to the neck. Add a cylinder to the scene. Using the Move and Scale tools, place it where the neck should be and adjust its proportions. At this point, focus entirely on proportions and silhouette, not on fine details. Think of this like working with digital clay. You are shaping the broad form before worrying about surface features. For the chest, use a capsule object. Rotate it 90 degrees using the Rotate tool while holding Shift to snap the angle. Use the Move and Scale tools to align it to your reference images. Be sure to switch between views to get it right from all angles. Be sure to switch between views to get it right from all angles. Now let's form the arms. Add another cylinder, rotate it 90 degrees for the upper arm and move it into position. In the Object Manager, set the cylinder height segments to 1 to simplify the geometry. So far, we have been working in model mode, adjusting entire objects. But what if you want to tweak individual vertices, edges, or faces? Right-click the cylinder and choose Make Editable, or simply press C to convert it into a polygonal object. Now you can toggle between point, edge, and polygon modes to fine-tune the shape. In point mode, activate the Rectangle Selection tool and adjust points at the wrist area to match your reference image. Let's create a leg the same way. Switch back to model mode, duplicate the arm, Ctrl or Command plus drag. Rotate it and reposition it as a leg. Convert it to a polygonal object. Press C. Enter point mode and use rectangle selection to reshape the leg. Adjust its position in the right view and tweak any points as needed for better alignment. To refine the shape further, let's add edge loops. Go to Edge mode, right-click the viewport and select Loop Postcard tool. Add an edge loop near the knee area. Then double-click it to select the entire loop. Move it to match your reference. Switch to point mode if needed to fine-tune the curve. Repeat the same process for the arm, placing an edge loop at the elbow and adjusting it from the top view to create a slight bend. Bending limbs now will make rigging and posing easier later. Let's keep things organized. Rename your objects in the Object Manager by double-clicking their names. Duplicate the head, Ctrl or Command plus drag to reuse it as a base for the hand. If your object seems misaligned, you may be in global coordinates. Toggle to local coordinates using the shortcut W. Convert the hand to editable geometry. Press C and scale it accordingly. Next, reuse the head again to form the foot. Adjust the size and make it editable. In point mode, delete half of the geometry to flatten it. Use point mode to reshape the foot and fit it to your reference. For a more realistic foot, consider using a sphere instead of a box. Think of the foot as a solid, arc-like structure that supports the body's weight. To create the torso, add a cube. Make it editable and shape it using Move and Scale tools. In Edge mode, use the Loop Passcut tool to add loops. Shift for snapping. Set the number of cuts to 3 in the Attributes Manager. Switch to Polygon mode, select the side polygons and scale them down to form the waist. Continue adding edge loops and refining the shape to follow the references. Group related body parts for easier management. Select all parts of an arm or leg, then press Alt plus G to group them into a null object and rename it. Create a symmetry object and drop the grouped null inside to mirror it. Now let's do some rough sculpting. Go to Mesh, Brushes, undock the brush menu and select the Grab brush. Adjust brush radius by holding Ctrl plus middle mouse button and begin shaping. In the Symmetry tab, set the mirror plane to Y, Z and use a large brush radius to define broad shapes. Keep rotating your model to view it from different angles. Always aim for a rounded silhouette. Look from the top and bottom to spot flat areas. To smooth out geometry, in Polygon mode, select all polygons, right-click and choose Subdivide. In the options, enable Smooth and set iterations to 1 for a denser mesh. Continue refining with the Grab brush, turning off the reference planes temporarily to focus on the form. Remember, human forms are mostly convex. Avoid concave areas unless you are creating a fold between two bulges. Let's finish refining the torso and limbs. Make the chest editable, then use the grab brush to round it out. Look from multiple angles, especially below and above, to check for flat areas. Repeat the same for the head and neck. Use transformation tools or the grab brush to enhance curvature and proportion. Now let's extrude parts to build out the shape. In Edge mode, double-click a loop around the arm. Then go to Select, Fill Selection to highlight the polygons between loops. Use the Move tool while holding Ctrl Command to extrude a new geometry outward. Add an edge loop midway and adjust the shape to define the shoulder. Do the same process with the hip area. Extrude, refine, and add supporting edge loops as needed. To wrap up the blocking stage, group all body parts into a new null object called blocking. With the null selected, hold Alt and click Subdivision Surface to place it as a parent. Add support edge loops around areas like joints and feet to maintain structure when subdivided. Try to keep your mesh simple for now, avoiding adding too many loops unless needed. Continue shaping and adjusting using the techniques we have covered. Finally, let's add some ears. Create a small cylinder, set its height segments to 2, then position it for the ear. To mirror it, just place it inside the same symmetry object you are already using. At this point, do one final pass using the grab brush and transformational tools to smooth transitions, especially around the neck and hips. If you are satisfied with the base form and proportions, then you're ready to move on to the next phase, defining clean topology. See you in part 2.